Last time, the message was मैले निर्मल सब हुक्म सबाए, से निर्मल जो हर साचे भाए, नानक नाम वसे मन अंतर गुरमुख मैल चुकावणे। All of the impurities and purities, meaning the dichotomy of positive and negative. Male, nirmal. Male means impurity, nirmal means the purity. Sab hukam sabaye, it is all part of the same will. Same will of God, same will of the Creator. This is not what we have been brought up with. Our training, our education, our traditional thinking is completely opposite to this. Let me refresh your memory. Our thinking is that all the purity is due to God and all the impurity is because of the devil. And if we ask the fundamental question, where did the devil come from? And the answer is, according to the traditional thinking, when I say traditional, I am basically talking of not one particular way of thinking. If you go back to in the Judeo-Western Christian world, Judaism, Christian and Islam and their offshoots, they all have this model, which says there was a God once and he created only positive. He only created angels. And then one of the angels had the idea, okay, you're not better than me. If you are going to rule the world, I can also rule the world. And he established his parallel kingdom, which was in opposition to whatever God said. He said, I'll do the other one. Hence, there is one God and one devil. One angel who went the opposite way is called a devil. That's the traditional thinking. But if you were a vertical thinker, you would go deeper into it and ask the next question. When the God created the angels, who gave them power of thinking? The obvious answer will be God gave them the power of thinking, because He is the original creator. Okay, the next logical question. If He did not want or did not like the negative way of thinking, why did He create it? And why did He give to the angels? I am the original creator. Whatever I don't like in you, I do not have to make you capable of doing that. If I am giving you the capability, that means it's okay with me for you to choose this or that. means it is according to my will. So if the devil is playing the opposite card, that is actually following my will. I just want that way. That is my game. Devil is following my orders. Now are completely thrown away. You take them to that logical conclusion, they are going to basically say you are a heretic. It is a blasphemy. Chop the head. This type of thinking is not allowed. When you go to that, that means you are not interested in the truth at all. You are interested in a belief system that's of your choice, not what the belief system in reality is and should be. There's only one creator. And every part of the creation is his will, positive and negative. You have the right to ask the question, why create the negative? The answer will be obvious. In order to write a drama, in order to write a story, you're going to need positive and negative and create an interaction between them, and the drama moves. And we have said that a number of times here. If you don't buy that logic, we are not going to force on you. You go home today, take a pencil, a paper, and start writing a story, but with only one character. No negative thoughts. Just one positive. Everything positive and one character. Go write the story and you'll find out how far you go. You will see the wisdom. The parable of God telling the Adam and Eve not to eat the fruit of knowledge is exactly that. We completely misunderstood the whole story. The moment you say don't, the action starts. You can experiment in your daily life. Try telling something to somebody with negative. You say, well, why not? Let me try it. What happens? Those of you who have children, you know it. You tell your children, don't do that. Well, I'm going to try it, but don't tell my mother. Don't tell my father. I'm going to see that what happens. She said, don't do that. Don't go in that area. Don't do this. Well, I'm going to see. I'm going to get away with it. Actually, the parable means the introduction of the negative. Otherwise, if you think to the logical conclusion, in the thousands of the trees in a single garden, the possibility of stumbling onto a particular tree is 1 in few trillions. There are plenty of other trees they can eat the fruit of. Why point out a particular tree? That's the introduction of a negative. That's how the drama started, right? He said, don't, this I will try it. Now the drama starts. So to say that God only created positive, but nothing negative, negative is attributed to the devil it is a false interpretation of the ultimate scripture's message. Scripture is saying the Creator created the life in two polarities, positive and negative, night and day, man and woman, good and bad. The life moves between two poles. But He created them because He wants to write a drama, a story that moves on forever and ever and ever. That was the message last time. Mare nirmal, sab hukam sabai. Positive and negative is His will. But there are few rare entities, say nirmal jo har sache bhai, who see this dichotomy, then make a choice, a conscientious choice, that I will diminish the role of negative in my life and keep on highlighting the role of positive. Say nirmal jo har sache bhai. The pure are those who actually choose to keep on diminishing the negative, influence of negative, keep on reducing, keep on eliminating, and keep on making the choices in life which are positive in nature, pure in nature. How do they do that? Nanak naam vase mane antar gurmukh mail chukavane. They bring His memory into their being forever. In every action, in every thought, that memory remains with them. So when that memory remains, the negative stays away. Think about it. When the temptation comes into human life, when do we actually act on that temptation? When two conditions meet. What are those two conditions? Society is not watching, the law is not watching. If we can get away with these two forces, the society and the law, we'll act on the temptation because we don't think anybody else is watching. But now bring the third into it. Not only the society is watching, not only the law is watching, but He is watching too. Right now, this moment. Every word that's coming out, He is watching. Every word that's going in, He is watching sitting there. Now, if you remember that, you tell me what happened to the temptation. You know, a thief can steal only when he is sure that nobody watching him. The moment he becomes conscious somebody is looking, what happens to the stealing? Can he steal that? If he knows somebody is looking, his action will change. Same is the case with the temptation. Temptation is a thief. And a thief works when nobody is watching. But if that thief remembers that there is an invisible watchman, he will never be able to steal. the negative will run away. Negative comes in when we are completely sure that nobody is watching. And by nobody, we have either the society or the law or both. God does not come into the picture at all. It doesn't even occur to us that He is watching. When that happens, Nanak naam vase mane antar. His memory gets into your heart and it vibrates, it resonates. And when that memory resonates, what happens? Gurmukh mail chuka banaya. Mail means impurity. The impurities start running away from you. Just by that, you are not doing anything else. You are not saying, I am keeping a discipline, I'm never going to lie. I'm keeping a discipline, I'm never going to steal. I'm never going to cheat. You are not saying that. All you are saying is, He's watching. That's it. How simple, yet how difficult. Think about it. Spiritual disciplines are not complex, not esoteric to understand or to implement. It is our denial to those facts. When they become clear to you, you say, but I know. She doesn't know. She is not watching me. And all of our actions, decisions, as children, we have gone through it. Who are we afraid of the most? The parents. As professionals, who are we afraid of the most? The boss. Is it not? Are we willing to put in our honest labor of 8 hours if nobody is watching? We have a saying for this, don't we? The cat is away, let the mice play. The only way the mice remains in discipline when he is afraid that the cat is watching. Everybody forget that there is a cat which is not visible to anybody, and that cat is watching all the time. That cat doesn't sleep, and you cannot run away from that cat, can you? By changing your residence or closing your doors, locking your houses, you can shut this cat out. Why? Because that is the characteristic of that. That's the definition of God. All pervading, omnipresent. Those are the terms used for that energy. It's everywhere. In every form, in everything, inside, outside, upside, down, doesn't matter where you want to look at. It is there. You don't acknowledge it? Okay. You do have a freedom to say He does not exist. And there are millions of people who are writing books on He doesn't exist. Only a couple of weeks ago, when the scientific discovery of God particle was announced, internet was going nuts. We proved it. There is no God. And the opposition was going just as much nuts, saying, you just proved it, he's there. Both are bad. Mysticism says, stop arguing. Those who say he's there, let them say it from their experience. Experience that godliness from within you. Manifest it. Bring it out. Buddha did. Jesus did. Moses did. Nanak did. Kabir did. Lao Tzu did. Bring it out. Then say he's there. And those who are saying he's not there, prove it. Stop hypothesizing. Stop parroting something because you heard it. Make it a part of your own experience. If you are able to make a part of your own experience, you will experience this. Next thing. Gobind ujal ujal hansa, man bani nirmal meri mansa, man ujal sada sukh sohe ad ujal naam te amanaya. This is what you will experience. Those who have experienced it, it is their words. They are using the language designed by us. The language is designed by humanity. So the language is just as imperfect as the humanity is. So it is going to only approximate, it's not going to say the exact thing. And what's the approximation? Govind Ujjal Ujjala Hansa. Govind means the creator, Ujjal means the light, the purity. You will discover that there is no such man with a long beard sitting on some throne and giving the orders. Which is also a traditional thinking. God in the hammer. He's sitting on his throne and he's judging. And he's rewarding and he's punishing. And nobody asks the question, what he is punishing for? Something that he doesn't like, he has all the power to remove it. As simple as that. Don't give the human that power. You don't like that. If you're going to punish it afterward because the human made that choice, that's insanity. First give the choice and then punish for the choice. Just remove the choice. But that's not the case. Choice is by him. And he is not punishing and he is not rewarding. He is basically saying, you make the choice, you face the consequence. I am out of it. I am neither going to punish you, nor going to reward you, not going to chastise you. I am doing absolutely nothing. I am telling you, you make this choice, here are the possible consequences, and each one of those consequences are valid. You tell a lie, you can get away with it. That's a consequence. You tell a lie, you get caught. That's a consequence. You get caught, you get forgiven. That's a consequence. You get caught, you get punished, that's a consequence. You have to be ready for all of them. I'm not doing anything in it. I just made the laws. I just made the game. Every game has a law, some rules. The person who designed the basketball game, once he said, you throw from here is 2 points, you throw from here is 3 points, you hit somebody with the elbow is a foul, you play clean, it is, right? These are all the rules. Now go play, and depending on how you play, you face the consequence. That's it. So God is neither punishing nor rewarding. Why? Because it's just a light, just an energy. He doesn't have those qualities of judging and forgiving and rewarding. It's just a light. The light is touching the table, the light is touching the screen, the light is touching the cloth. The cloth is affected, the table is affected, but is light affected? Should the light feel bad because it hit the table? It's hard. It should have been soft. I'm hurt. Does the light say that? Light hurt falls on the water, does it get cool? Light falls on the gutter, does it get smelly? Light falls on the flower, does it get rosy? Light remains the light. He's just light. Just pure energy. Govind Ujjal Ujjal Hansa. Hans means swan. A bird that is associated with purity. Manbani Nirmal Meri Mansa. And the voice, the words, the Bani is also pure. Not hurtful, not vindictive, not punishing. That's why God is love and love is God. And the love is not only reserved for the do-gooder. Love is reserved for the sinner as well. You ask any gardener, he goes to his garden, he has a water hose in his hand, he is going to water the plant. And then he finds that there is only one flower, rest is all thorns. Prickly, sharp, just thorns. Should he stop watering? Because there are more thorns and there is only one flower? Why bother? There are too many thorns, there are too many negatives there. There's only one positive. I'm not going to water this plant. Have you ever heard a gardener say that? You think God is not even that much smarter? That he sees so many sinners and he should say, I'm going to suffocate the whole world because there are too many sinners. And we make the stories like that. Is it not? In the scriptures we wrote the stories. We said, and the God said, the earth has become all corrupted, I am going to destroy it. Right? You remember the Noah and the ark and the story of the flood. Or for the matter, the story of that city, Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm going to destroy it. Not only that, when I am destroying it back, nobody better look at me. Isn't it? Look at how far did we go? And there was one woman who made that mistake. And she looked back. And she immediately became salt. The body converted into salt. Because she looked back while God was doing his nefarious job. This is our background. We grew up with these type of parables and metaphors and took them totally out of context and turned them into something sinister. We turned the creative energy into as much a devil as anyone can be. If you are going to destroy the entire civilization on the planet, are you better than any Hitler? He just was thinking of destroying one part of the world. And we have a story, God destroyed the entire earth. And then to top it all, he said, save every species. One pair. Can you imagine somebody collecting every species in the universe on a single board and save it away? That's quite good. Think about these things. And we are so obsessed with it. We are digging every part of the ocean we can to find that Noah's Ark. Why? Because we made that story and we believed in it, and it said there must be an archaeological proof of that event. I am not mocking any religion. I am telling you how our minds and thinking has been hijacked. And we cannot see the truth. We cannot appreciate the truth. Because that old paradigm keeps coming back again. Like a bad meal, it just keeps calling back. We think of this, immediately the memory comes, hold it. Didn't I hear in my childhood about that? What happened to it? Our programming is so deep. It is genetic. These stories were heard by children when they were in the womb of their mother. They were not even born yet. That's how deep that genetic coding is. That's how deep that programming is. It's going to take a lot of effort to come out of the darkness and face the reality, which is Govind Ujjal Ujjal Hansa, the pure light, and in the purest possible form. The language, the words, the means of communication is the purest possible. No judgment, no criticism, no putting down. Man ujjal sada sukh sohe. Man means the thought process, the memories, the collection of thoughts. Mind. What's mind? Ask yourself. Find a doctor who can operate your body and show you where your mind is sitting. Can you find it? No, you can't. Because mind is not a physical thing. It is a construct. It's memories. It's collection of experiences. That's what it's called, mind. Then, the experiences that have gone further down, what did we call it? Freud came along, he said that's called subconscious. All it is basically saying this memory is distant. It's not near enough so that you can be conscious of it. That's all. He created another entity called subconscious mind. And then he created a third entity, he called it id, which is the ego part, which drives the both. If somebody asks you, where is your ego? Can you find it anywhere in your body, in your mind, in your brain, anywhere? With all the modern technology, all the CAT scans and PET scans and all of that, go find it. Look for mind, look for subconscious, look for, if they can find the construction of a single DNA, and they can pinpoint a single connection, a single instruction of that program. Nobody has scanned a mind yet. Why? Because they are not physical in nature. They are constructs. When you know that, all you need to do is then change the paradigm. Today you are thinking this way. Change the thinking to the other one. Everything changes. Man ujjal sada sukh sohe ad ujjal naam steha manaya. When you change the paradigm, then his memory, remembering him, becomes very easy. Today you are remembering everything that's happening outside. Tomorrow you will start remembering everything that's happening inside. That's it. Just change the direction. Right now the finger is going this way. Turn the finger this way. If you don't want to turn the finger this way, just look at the fingers that are already pointed toward you. Isn't it? Look. If one finger is pointing to the other one, the three are pointing to you. Pay attention to these. They are saying, turn inward. Stop focusing on the one. The three are pointing to you. Look inside. How are you, Jivari Gobind Gurgamaniya? How are you? Surrender the ego and get busy in remembering him. Gobind Gobind kahe din rati, Gobind gum shabad ga sunamaniya. Then don't make it a ritual. I will remember him for these 3 minutes and then I'll forget. There is a Saint Kabir, a mystic. The thought comes to me right now because right now, Islam is going through the month of Ramzan. Or in English, they call it Ramadan. In Persian or Farsi, it's Ramzan, not Ramadan, the way they have converted it. It's Ramzan. Now the month of Ramzan is supposed to be spent in a total remembrance. Mandatory 5 times prayer and fasting from sun down to sun up. And Kabir asked the question, he said, what are you going to do with the rest of the 11 months? Very fundamental question. So, I understand you are remembering Allah for 1 month. What about the rest of the 11? Now you are free to go whatever you want to do. Forget it. And the interesting thing is, from sundown to the sun up, or sun up to sundown, the only thought is, when will I eat? And so much food and fruit and the things is collected that they end up overeating in the anxiety, because they are supposed to eat only when the sun is down. By the time the sun comes up again, all eating has to stop. So during that time, I better stop myself. So they actually end up getting sick, throw their system completely out of balance. The whole idea goes with it. He said, that's not spirituality. That's not religion. That's not worshipping. That's not remembering. be religious. That's pretending to remember. No, surrender and make it a part of your being, not a month, not a week, not a specific time of the day or the week, but make it a part of your being. Gobind kahe din rati, day and night. Make his memory as a part of your being. Gobind gun shabd suhamane. Stay connected from within. The outside can do the outside work. And you do that today, don't you? You drive your car. Do you think of driving the car ever when you are driving? When you are learning, yes, you are thinking of the driving. You remember those days, don't you? The instructor is saying, don't look toward the right because he knows the car is going toward the right. He says, you're looking right. No, I'm not. No, look straight. Okay, I'll look straight. And then you start looking on your bonnet, on the hood. And he's saying, don't look at the hood. Keep your eyes up. Look at a distance. How can I drive when I'm looking up? You will drive when you're looking up. And then suddenly one day they say, oh, I got it. Now, you're chatting with your friends, or you're fooling around with your girlfriends, you're doing all sorts of things and the car is driving. What happened? It became part of your being. It went deep. It's no more at the conscious mind. You don't need to consciously remember now when to accelerate and when to brake. The body is already responding without you being even aware of the darn thing. That's how the memory of him needs to become. That's the basic requirement. गोविंद गावे सहज स्वभावे गुरु के भय उज्जवल हामे मल जाए सदा आनंद रहे भगत करे दिन राति सुन गोविंद गुण गावणिया. He says, if you start remembering this, then your most difficult thing to conquer is your ego. If you start remembering him, you do not need to do anything else. Ego will start automatically getting tamed. You will start developing a certain humility, a certain natural humbleness. Not contrived humbleness, not put upon humility. Oh, you are so sweet. I'm not even close to you. What's behind that? The other should say, no. Actually, I am not. You are. That's the expectation when we are being pseudo-humble. But when we are really humble, we don't need to say anything. We demonstrate the humility with and through our actions. Our behavior reflects humility, not the words. You go into your natural state. Govind gave sahaj subhai. Sahaj subhai means go to your natural state. Sabha means your nature. Sahaj means that something that doesn't create tension. Gur ke bhai ujjwal hame mal jaye. Hame means the ego, mal means the impurity. When you are remembering him, that impurity starts disappearing by itself. Slowly it goes away. Sada shabd mane, sada anand rahe, bhagat kare din raat. Then you are forever in a bliss. And the people can see it, you can see it, you can feel it. There is a certain peace around you. There is certain quiet around you. You are tension free. You are stress free. Why? We were a few moments ago we were talking about it. Stress is the result of disagreeing with the outcome of your actions. If whatever the result is going to be is okay with you, there is no need to stress it. There will be no stress. The stress is whatever the output is going to be, I am going to disagree. Why? Because I know better. I can do better. How can you do better? Because I did this action and this action must bring this reaction. If this reaction is not happening, I'm not going to accept it. So you're going to stay in stress. And what's going to happen? The result, 50-50 chances are, will not be the way what you thought. It's going to be something different. And you cannot control it. You cannot direct it. If you tell a lie, that's a choice you made. Can you now control that you never be caught? Can you control if you are caught, you better not be punished? And you be forgiven? You find out the example of one single conclusion and action that you make, and you can control its output also. Simplest to the complex. Take one. At the macro level. 10 years ago, the United States thought we are going to go into Afghanistan and we are going to kill Osama bin Laden and then we are going to get out. What happened? Wow, this came up and we couldn't, and this came up and we couldn't, and this turned out to be that couldn't. And okay, by the way, we did kill the Osama and we still can't get out. Think of controlling the consequences with so much might, so much power, so much wealth, so much control over the world events. Try controlling this output. See what happens. That's a macro level vision. Bring it down to the micro. Bring it down to your own level. You eat the food that you think is good and then control what happens. Try to redirect it and say, I am going to eat you, you better not do this to me. And the nature says, eating is your choice. I give you that. But what I do after that is not your choice. That's my choice. And that, I won't take your choice and I'm not going to give you mine. You better get used to it. It's a day-to-day event. Look at it. You go to the restaurants, you eat food, you come back and say, I got food poisoning. Why? Well, the same food was eaten by the person who went with you. He's okay or she's okay. What happened to you? Well, your result for the same action was not meant to be same. It wasn't under your control. So when you get to that stage, when you understand this concept, then all you can do is Sada Anand Rahe. Bhagat kare din rati. Sun Govind Gun Gaave. That's it. Or you say, whatever you did is okay. Whatever you're doing is okay. Whatever you will do That will be your mantra. That will be your song for the rest of your life. मनवा नाचे भगत दृढ़ाए, गुरु के शब्द मने मन मिलाए, सच्चा ताल पूरे माया मोह चुकाए, शब्दे नृत्य करावणया. When you are on that path and you accept that paradigm, that model, then manwa nache bhagat dridhaye. If you are against it, if you don't follow that, if you don't accept it, what will happen? Say manwa nache. Then you will be jumping from one to the other. I'll do this, this will happen. I'll do this, this will happen. I'll do this, this will happen. You will jump around. Why? Because you are now trying to catch the result. Those of you who read today's news, what's happening to Mr. Ramani? He thought he was being very clever. He gone to a diplomatic, a goodwill tour, and he ends up criticizing the preparation of Olympics while in London. And now he's dancing around to get out of it, and he cannot. As soon as the result came out, they said, Mitt the Twit had the galls to tell us that we don't know how to run Olympics. Is this man ready for being a president? And now he is trying to backtrack. And they say, the damage is already done. We are not letting you get out of this. That's manwa nache. The mind is playing now. Back and forth, back and forth. Why? Because you do not let your ego be humble. If there was a humility in him when he was actually on a goodwill tour, he should have been humble enough and say, whatever you're doing, you know your society, you know your country, you know your culture, you must be doing everything good to make the game successful. Instead he said, no, I just noticed that their visa office is in trouble because they don't know how many real visas are being issued, and they are understaffed. And I'm not sure whether the people of London are really ready for this type of things. America is ready, but the London cannot be. Ego flew off the handle, got him into trouble. Now he can't get out. It's the third day. And all 3 days, all of the newspaper of the Europe has only one headline, all 3 days. And they're not letting people get out. Manwa nache. Mind is dancing around. Why? Because not accepting the godliness, not accepting the humility. Guru ke shabd mane man milaye, sacha taal pure maya moh chukaye, shabde nrit karavanaya. He did not follow the law of using the word of the Creator and subdue the mind. What happened? Then Maya moh chukaye, the illusionary world, the attachment to the illusionary world, shabde nirta karavanya, it is now making you dance all over the place. No peace. Uche kuke tane pachhade. Then all you can do is yell and scream and complain. Uche means loud. Kuke means to shout. Then you complain all around. Look what God is doing to me. I don't deserve it. What did I do to deserve this? A very common phrase. I don't hurt anybody. Did I? Then why am I being hurt? A common complaint. Why is that complaint? Because I only remember my choice. When did I make it? I don't. You see, I never did this. If somebody points out, if you are getting a certain result, that means you acted sometime to deserve this result. You did put this seed down some time ago. Otherwise, that fruit will not belong to you. Nobody can eat somebody else's fruit. You put it. Hence, right? As you sow, so shall you reap. Class of the Bible. Whatever is happening to you is the result of your actions. It is possible that you have forgotten the action because it was a long time ago. What do you mean long time ago? Well, look at it. There are certain seeds that flourish within 3 months. Right? Summer is there, you will plant some flowers or some vegetables. They'll come in 3 months. But there are certain trees, the fruit tree, you put the seed, it will take few years for the tree to grow up to bring the fruit. The mango tree does not give the first fruit for 7 years. It's all over. A chick will give the egg and the little hen will come out of it in 6 weeks. That's a seed. You can see that. But a human will not produce a child for 10 months. You can see that. An elephant will not produce a child for 27 months. Each seed has its own life. So if you're going to forget, when you put the seed, you can be sure when the fruit is in your lap, that is your seed. You can be absolutely sure. Nature will not give somebody else's actions result to somebody else. Even if they want it. Don't the parents say all the time, when the child gets sick, I wish I would get sick and you get better. Can they do that? It doesn't work. That's not how the nature is designed. So when the seed comes back as a fruit, what do we do? Ucha kuke tane pachade. Yelling and scream and throwing up the hands and legs. Tane pachade. Tane means the body. Pachade means to throw around. Maya mo johya jamkale. The illusionary attachments are becoming a punishment. Maya mo is mane nachaye antar kapat dukh pavanya. The illusionary attachments can only result in one thing. Nothing more, nothing less. You can try what you want to do. It means only one thing, and it is antar, inside. Kapat, negative. Dukh, punishment, suffering. The illusionary attachment will only result in suffering. So, we'll take a pause here. So if there are any comments or questions, we'll entertain them now.